righty. Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's 8:31 a.m. here on the East Coast, and it is 10:31 p.m. in Tokyo. They've had their Monday. So where are we now, and what are we doing? Let's see. There's cable AUD. Let's go over to the dollar index, and let me get to the chat line, and we'll do it from there. Also, the dissection of the unemployment numbers on Friday are, they look nice, but ouch. Under the hood, it doesn't look too good, because now it's going to just give energy for those Keynesian types at the Federal Reserve to want to raise it again for a quarter point. It's like they keep on thinking putting people out of work is a way to reduce inflation, when it's just man-made I guess what's the word? Lack of responsibility. That's all it really comes down to. Between the Federal Reserve and federal spending, it just turns it into a mush. A mush. All right, let me get to the chat line and see who is in the house this morning. Has anybody woken up on Monday morning? And the answer to that question is someone with a Yankee baseball hat on. Okay. Whoa, Mountain, you're on a roll. Holy moly! All right, what do we got here? There's Mountain. There's Robin. Hey, Robin. Let's see what Mountain is talking about. Why want to give? Okay, Mountain says I had a little chat with Chat. I had one about 4 weeks ago, and I had to have a cocktail afterwards. It asked me more questions than I asked it. I didn't like that at all. Weekend about the best way to build a trading algorithm or expert advisor for currency trading based on MTF. Let me think what MTF is. What is MTF? Let me think. Advisor on trading currency. You have to fill me in on what is I'm kind of dense sometimes. MTF. Let me think. Trading futures. Something. What would the M be? M like in Mary. In like married trading futures. Let's see. Chat told me to back test to determine. That makes sense. Okay. But that's a robust way of looking at all scientific experiments. If it would work or not, since I am an expert in this area, immediately knew this was misleading advice and will produce very false results. Mountain says, I told Chat this. I told him why, and I asked Chat why he was giving me misleading and false information. Know what he did? Apologize. Yeah, I got that same thing. I was dealing with quantum. I was comparing quantum mechanics. I'm not going to get deep into it, but I was comparing prime numbers to compiling code on programs, and that sent him down a rabbit hole. And then it started asking me questions because of the direction, and I think I started off with quantum mechanics. I wanted to see what they were going to say about quantum mechanics, and they started off with the Copenhagen conjecture, and that was okay. I didn't have any problem with that. But after that, it went downhill quick. So then I gave an answer back to the way I look at quantum mechanics, and that's when it started an avalanche. Because then it wanted to know where I derived that concept, and thought it was, and was very, very, what's the word? Not condescending, the opposite. Very, like complimentary about the direction I had taken and how I derived it. That's what it wanted to know. And so then I gave an answer to not how the math was, but I then brought it to a level of ether. I went against the Higgs boson field, not the particle, but just the field, using it in M theory. And that's when it really went downhill, because then it wanted to understand ether and how I derived ether. And then I got really frustrated, and it asked too many questions, and I got out of Dodge, and next thing I know, I was drinking an adult beverage. So anyway, I think I went to Wild Turkey and Club Soda or something like that. Anyhow, and I told him why, and I asked him, apologize for me giving me that bad information. Mountain says, apparently the chat is not what it's... I did a webinar on this, 3 weeks ago? I told you. It's just a advanced search encyclopedia. It's user friendly. It's the most user friendly search engine I've seen so far. But what did I say? I did it in the webinar. I said it to everybody. We are 1,000 light years ahead in processing and storage and costs. But when it comes to code itself and programming, we are still like as if we're sitting in 1977. I mean, we are not that advanced in coding. Coding, what they've done is they've advanced coding with like Python and so forth. They went from binary, basic, Fortran, Cobalt, Pascal, and then jumped. And by that point, the processing power was so powerful they were able to code. So in other words, you go type in code that you're trying to do because it's so finite, and that's artificial. Hence the name artificial intelligence. Not because it's not organic. It's because it's not efficient. It doesn't fit a cybernetic flowchart. When you go back and look, Plato and Aristotle. I'm repeating myself from the webinar we talked about when I went into coding, into AI. Don't be fearful. Matter of fact, didn't I label the webinar something like there's nothing to fear. It's not Skynet or something like that. Yeah, I think something like that. Anyway, I think Robin's going to pull us into getting it back organized. Bring us back to Earth, Robin. Come in, Doc. Come in. MTF is multi-time frame. Multi-time frame. Benny, hey Ben, how you doing? We started off with your. Let's go find it. Let's get out of the camping area and let's get over to the chart. There we go. And you can see. Oh well, yeah, I have it up on J4X. You can see that. There's the GBP. They slid into the sell on Friday. Let's go back to that. Let me just show you where it is in our mathematics. And the answer to the question is, there it is. Yeah, second day into the sell. Interesting. The weekly's holding up. Don't try to pull some trigger. Remember, you have the last move was a very good profit. Don't fool with this short until we see what's going on. The employment numbers, Benny. I don't know if you were here for the very beginning. The employment numbers give us a problem. The Federal Reserve could basically raise the short-term rate again another quarter percentage point because of the employment number, because it really showed all kinds of like heating up thing still. Now it showed more unemployment, but that was because they reduced. Obama did this thing. They changed it so that it's like a seesaw. So in other words, when you do unemployment now, you also subtract employment people. So it's not a healthy loop. It's kind of like a fantasy number. That's why I said during the Trump years, it wouldn't surprise me if unemployment went to a minus, because he had it down incredibly low. And so it would be just, in the end result is it's going to mess with the markets a little bit. But you can see if we go over to the stock indices right now, right there, you can see my intraday algorithms on it. It's on the right here is Doc's intraday algorithms. On the left is J4X from Swiss Bank, from Dukascopy. And you can see here they've kind of fallen into a envelope. They can't get out of their way. They're not sure what to do because the news on Friday is basically saying, okay, let's raise it another quarter percentage point. The market, remember, markets like to anticipate. Oh, thanks. You'll log in today. Let's say, wait a minute, where am I at? I'm trying to read the tape now. There, Benny says, Mountain, I've still not logged into my Instagram, but okay, you guys are yakking. Okay, that's no problem. So Chat GPT credit it now what MTF stood for without me having to explain it. Yeah, well, that's why it's a great encyclopedia. Yeah, so that's Mountain. That's why it's a great encyclopedia. But it's, can it think? Does it have a consciousness in the sense of, can it learn from what knowledge it has? If it could, it already done it. Obviously, I mean, you think about the amount of extrapolations in a program. It can do thousands and thousands a second. So how come it hasn't jumped like light years ahead in knowledge so quickly? Because it's not a intelligence. It's just an encyclopedia. So it's, don't worry about it. It's not Skynet. We won't have Arnold coming back in time to kill. But yes, I completely agree with you. I did a webinar on this, didn't I? Like 3 weeks ago, or was it one of my fantasies in the nursing home here? It's like, I do remember even labeling it like, don't worry. I think Giannis was kicking in and saying, yeah, we should rename it IW. IW equals Interactive Wikipedia. Yeah, basically. A very sophisticated one, a very smart one, a very user-friendly one. But it's not. Look at the Nobel Prizes going out the last couple years. You're looking at guys in biophysics, biology and chemistry, getting Nobel Prizes in physics form. And you can see it. The mainstream physics is celebrating these guys because they're playing with consciousness. It's beyond intelligence. It's consciousness. Being able to extrapolate and learn and grow. And you got to think about it. I'm going to repeat myself because I never said this out loud before. But think about it. So we've had AI, I don't know, for a year or two, a couple years now. Now now it's in the hands of the public through, Microsoft and, Meta and Google and so forth. Now we have it like at user-friendly fingertips, right? To the general public. Well, if it has the ability to process thousands of times in a minute, then why hasn't it not this advanced like 50 years in like 2 days? See what I'm saying? The math doesn't fit. That's why I've been saying don't worry about it. AI is nothing to worry about. It's the clowns that keep on trying to sell it to you. They're the ones you have to worry about. Does that make any sense out there? I mean, think about that. That processing time. Here is another gem. Yesterday I pulled my computer monitor close to me on the computer table, but I inadvertently clicked the on-off button on the button of the monitor. Okay. I've done that a few times. I mean, usually it's the power cord that finds a way to get out. When you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 monitors in front of you, and you're starting to move something around because you've decided that you want that over here, then you refuse to turn the computer off at the same time. The first key is to disconnect the power cord. And don't do anything else. Because once you plug in the power cord, the computer will still recognize that it still exists. Anyhow, there's the... Oh, let's get the dollar index up on the screen. Let's see where the dollar... I think it was picking up steam again because they're on Friday I think they started pushing it. Let's put it on Chicago Quant first, and then we'll go get it on J4X. And money started looking at it correctly. I think the bonds went into a sale too on Friday from that news, not a buy. You would think that interest rates would have dropped, but instead they rose from that. That's because they're anticipating, because of what the Bureau of Labor Statistics came out with. It says it opens the doorway for the federales and that the Federal Reserve to crank it up another quarter point. Let's see, where's it at? Right. Where's it at? There it is. It's highlighted. Activate. And let's put it up over here. There's the dollar index. Yeah, so it's lifting back up again. We went into a buy on Friday. and that was the malfunction from the unemployment number. And I would say, stocks are always forward looking, or the Federal Reserve plows billions into the marketplace every night anyway. So it's a choice. It's a coin flip on who's doing more stupid things. But in the end result is that the Dow, or the S&P 500 here in this case is or no, this is a dollar index, but the S&P 500 rallied because it's kind of like, well, chances are now we're no more than 6 weeks away from a topping out of all interest rates. But then the bonds, as they like to used to call them on the floor, the bond vigilantes. Let's go back to the bond vigilantes. Without it being a listed market, the bonds can go anywhere they want in a matter of seconds. And the Securities Exchange Commission or the Futures Trading Commission or any other of these goofy government agencies can't do bitty about it. Whereas they can capture a stock and torture the poor thing. Sounds like kids with a frog. There it is right there. Yeah, they started breaking down on Friday, and you can see today the 30-year is, going into the sell. You can see we're still in a weekly sell. So this dead cat bounce that occurred right here was just that, and I think I was mumbling something like that about that a while ago. But anyway, dead cat bounce, and we'll see. I look. The markets are thin. They're controlled by a small group of pressure points, I guess you could call them. Institutions have to buy when certain they have to stay with their incorporation manifesto. If they don't stay with their incorporation manifesto, they get sued. So it doesn't matter if they make money or lose money. They can just get sued just for the sake of just doing something that the manifesto says you're supposed to do and you don't do. Anyhow, that's what that comes down to right there. And so, let's see, what do we got here? Mountain says, obvious things to check before checking others. Let's see, wait, there's a lot of Mountain here now. Let's see, Mountain says, here is another gem. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it was a black when I turned it computer on. I didn't know what was wrong, so I asked, oh, God, you're still going with the chat, eh? How to fix this. And it told me multiple ways to check things related to my monitor. An hour later, I find there's only like 3 things you need to do. 1 is make sure the power's on. 2, make sure that the plug is plugged in if the power's not on. And 3, push the button. And then after that, you go into the operating system if there's a 4th thing. And chances are the other 3 will remedy anything all the time. Because it goes into a default and it keeps the last setting. Unless you were in there playing with the setting, forget it. You can't wreck your setting by accidentally turning it on and off. See, an hour later, found that it didn't give me this obvious thing to check before. Things like cables, connections, etc. Again, apologized to me and said it was. Again, I was smarter than the AI. I know, we all are. On my worst drunken day, I'm smarter than an AI. I remember when I was in Princeton. Oh my God, they fell in love with turning. I think it had this transgender thing going on, or gay thing. And so it was the year of turning in Princeton back in 2017? 2017 I think it was. Oh, they were in love with him. Oh my God. Gay guy that broke the Enigma code, wrote some coding. They brought in people like this one Nobel guy. They brought him in. He was trying to justify that turning was really there when it came to topology and mathematics, and he really understood feedback systems. And afterwards I confronted him and I said, look, what about Plato and Aristotle and the shadow and the cave and on his, in the cybernetic feedback systems that he wrote about thousands and thousands of years ago. And he looked at me like as if I was speaking Martian. He was like, well, never considered that. Well, you got a Nobel Prize. Go consider it. I just said, well, that's good. You should then. You should consider it. Yeah, he came to some rationalization. He actually stood in front of some of the smartest people on the planet, or let's put it this way: credentials that claim that they're the smartest people on the planet, and they all tried to make a case that before turning, we really didn't do set theory. And I mean, you could go back to like Euler and guys like that. In the 16th century, they're doing prime numbers, and they're doing Gauss, and they're doing all kinds of stuff that is set theory in neighborhoods, and they're doing all that mathematics in their own ways. Oh my God! And here we get Anyway, yeah, forget the AI. AI is some type of fantasy in some people's heads. Quarterfinals start tomorrow at the French Open. I was watching that. I was telling you, I was at the bar and I was watching that. I love that clay court. I have to take my backhoe and build myself a clay court. I will do that. Tomorrow I'm playing on a dozer though. I got a bulldozer I got to fool around with. AI is only as smart as the info it receives from its handlers. Well, that gives you a big clue right there. Now think about the handlers that are trying to sell it to you. This is exactly what it is. It creates wanted enough. Exactly. That's what did I say in the webinar like 2 or 3 weeks ago when I actually talked about AI being nothing to fear. I said, what did I say? I said something about I'm more concerned about the salesman selling it because it's not Skynet. It's not Skynet. I'll be back. All right. So where are we at this point? Dollar. You see the dollar's breaking down a little bit. That's just because of the Bureau of Labor Statistic data on the employment on Friday. Now we've got to start paying attention to if these bozos are going to raise it a quarter point again and put out more local little bankies. All right. From there, let's go over to the euro. But if anybody cares to see anything, just shout it out. What's that? Robin says, Mountain Quarter. Okay, Robin says, AI is only a... Yeah, right, exactly. That was Robin. Okay, cool. Ukraine counter-offensive has started. News blackouts. Really? Yeah, I got a friend that's a major. He's retired reserve half and half because he's also a medical doctor now. He didn't start off as one. He did it in the Army. And he's always got his opinions about what he's hearing from a drum beat, from old friends or friends. I haven't heard too many. I hear from one special force unit. That's about it. Yeah, it's going to be, I liked what Trump said. I can shut that war down in 24 hours. And he could. And he will. And then NATO will be one. At this point, the Russians have shot their load. They're wrecking this great boogeyman persona that they've had forever. They're wrecking it by doing this stupid thing in the Central Europe. I mean, it's one thing to go do it in Georgia or Kazakhstan or some other rubbish place or Syria. But to go do it in the center of Europe, what a stupid thing that is. We'll see how it all plays out in the end. But more than likely, Russia, no matter what, is hurt its brand name, its persona. All right, what do we got here? Let's go to the euro. That's where I wanted to get to. No one seems to want to see anything, so I will ramble on the euro for a little bit and see what they're doing. And there is the euro right there. Dollar-euro pairs trade. You see that? Still in the sell, I believe. I want to say it went into the buy on Friday. Let's see. Let's get over to there. And the answer to that is... look at that, Benny. They're beating the drum on that GBP AUD. There's the euro right there. It's still in the sell. Because I think it was a red and a green on Friday. So it's still in the sell for, 15 days now since the top up in here. We went into the sell with the red line. We're in the weekly sell all the way back there too. The fast and the slow are below my nonlinear time manifold. So watch out below. Still think it just stalls out in the 107s, but we'll see. Again, they're trying to adjust to a possible quarter percent increase. Probably money has to shift a little bit because when you're a really sophisticated fund, in the sense of what buku dollars, that's Vietnamese for a lot. What happens is that the incorporation manifesto has a lot of do's and don'ts, and usually a lot of that's written in like, okay, if gold goes to X, and if the Bureau of Labor Statistics says unemployment is this, you have to liquidate or you have to increase dollar cost average into certain sectors of stocks, and so forth and so on. So you have that. You always have that thing. That's why they have to follow their manifestos as incorporated. Metho Theater 2000. Benny says GBP. Here, let's go back again to it. Here we go. We'll put it up on Chicago Quant. Metho. Good weekend, Metho. There you go, right there. It's at the lows of the day. Went into that sell on Friday with no problem. Boy, did they pounced through that thing on Friday. I mean, we were watching it right from the beginning in the morning. It was pouncing through there. And the weekly went into a weekly sell last week. So, I mean, I guess, wow, are they going to blow down to the... Hey, let me tighten this up. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thunking here. I'm looking at this high here, and I'm looking at this low right here. So I'm assuming that they're going to base themselves in that territory, because what's scaring the markets at the moment, or I don't know if you can call it scaring, but what's affecting the markets at the moment is the Bureau of Labor Statistics of Friday. They weren't pretty. They were sloppy and twisted, and in other words, one number was great, another one was that magical seesaw, and then the rest of them was saying, "Oh, raise rates, raise rates." It's like, wait a minute, hold the door. I thought we were going into a fat period of unemployment. Why are you raising rates when we're going into unemployment? So you're going to... Unemployment tells you that the economy is slowing, and raising rates means it is not. It's like, what? What? So when you look under the hood, it's like, uh-oh. When you look at the car, oh boy, it's shiny and cool and clean. And then you go, oh yeah, but you got to put your feet on the ground to push it and make it move. All right. So now, let's see. Metho says sleeping weekend. Really? I was farming. I was doing a lot of farming. Tomorrow I go bulldozer. I'll go bulldozer. We'll have to have some action shots from the bulldozer. Got 8 acres. I need to create an oval around it. Talking and doing are two things. I'll take some snapshots from the dozer. I got a power blade dozer. Bulldozer. We're going to kick it. Kick that pig! All right. So there's the euro. Let's go over to the cable. See what the cable's up to this morning. And there's GBP on... It's doing the same thing as that GBP AUD. Broke down on Friday, but today it's threatening the daily sell. As you can see, it's breaking through our zero line. So you see the algorithm pushing through on the daily. The weekly, well, it's been in a weekly sell, and it was as I said earlier, a dead cat bounce on the move up. And there we are. Just 2 days, we're almost back to zero. So hence why you trade options. You use derivatives to get long so that you don't get stopped out. Talking and doing. You slept instead of doing things? Is that what you're saying? Were you talking in your sleep? Me sleepy. All right, and then from there we'll go over to the Swiss. Let's see what the Saltine is doing this morning. Oh, there you go. They just put it across the tape again. They've been saying that for a couple hours now. Jack Dorsey endorses Robert Kennedy Jr. I That's why they already intercepted that. And they control the elections with no problem. They're going to data mine and voter harvest, and Biden will have no problem getting the primary election. And all the intel. Let's put it this way: all the people in the Democrat Party who realize that Mr. Biden is not exactly good old Joe, after me suffering with him for 48 years, now they're suffering with him. They're going to vote heavy on the Kennedy, and then they're going to be confused. And you can't say it's rigged. Oh no, can't say it's rigged. Oh no, don't say that. Can't steal elections. Oh no. And then Bobby Jr. is going to go down in flames, and they're going to be like, "How did that happen?" It's like Montezuma's revenge. All right, and there's the Swiss. Let's put up on J4X. Yeah, it's a lead headline. Where is it at? All right. There it is. There's the Swiss. I guess people are not used to F-16 doing a sonic boom. Huh. Ah, okay. They kicked the afterburners, and two F-16s intercepted a private plane heading towards Washington. Rock and roll. When we were kids, there were sonic booms all the time. Coming out of the Jersey Devils, out of Pomona. All right. From there, you can see the Swiss still moving up. It's still in that buy for a couple weeks, and a weekly buy now for over a month and a half. Swiss overall has cleaned itself up, with Credit Suisse and the problems there. Oh, what's this? Metho says, talking about rising hikes and doing. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. You're talking about a group of people, since 2021. When here I am in July of 2021 here on the webinar telling you we have inflation. We have the Secretary of Treasury, we have the Federal Reserve Chairman, and we have the President of the United States saying this is absurd, it's just transitory, don't look behind the curtain. Over and over, they just say it over and over again. And they do it for over a year. And so we see inflation go from 1.5% to almost 10%. Right? In some areas it's 20, and some are like 7 and 8. Smoothed out mathematically. Basically around the 10% area. Okay. Now we've come back halfway. We're in the 5s. We're going to stay in the 5s for a while until this group of people are removed from government altogether, because their policies, make it very hard. They just do, and so. It's man-made inflation. It's got nothing to do with anything more than just irresponsible governing, and that's just the way it goes. And we have the Secretary of Treasury and the Federal Reserve Chairman finally, almost 12 months ago now, that's all it is, 12 months ago, realizing in May of 2022 we have inflation. Now they're all excited about it falling down. Let's see when it gets to 1.5%, and not 5% interest rates anymore, or 6% interest rates, but again back to 1.5%, 2% interest rates, or 1.25% interest rates, or whatever. But in the end result is that I don't expect a lot from them. I have not expected a lot from them. All I figure is they're going to always throw free money at you and give you an opportunity. I have a friend that's an associate partner at Citadel, and they get $1 billion to use every night $1 billion, and the Fed has given it to them every night, a one-night loan for over 3 years, and and it's I think it's like I guess not 3 years. What am I saying? It's like 13 years. They've been doing it for a long time. They do it to everybody. JPM gets a half a billion a night. A lot of these organizations get that money to sit on, and then they can hold positions. And when they can hold positions for free, there's no reason to see an equity market fall down. And that's what it all comes down to. I don't know if they need inflation. They need confusion. If you allow the population to actually get a feel for what's going on, then people would get pissed. Like, you watch the Democrat primaries. People are going to be confused why Bobby Kennedy Jr. cannot beat Joe Biden. Now, he might get a traction here or there, where in some of the red states where they can't play the shenanigans. But when it comes to the blue states, Biden's going to clean up. And he's going to clean up big. And that's because of the policies of the states, how elections work. And so they're going to go like, why is Bobby Kennedy only able to win in these areas, but he's not able to win there? And they look identical. It comes down to the way voting laws are. And the blue states are, they are what they are. Who cares? Anyway, that's what it comes down to. So, yeah, inflation, confusion, interest rates, slow economy. It's just basically do not look behind the curtain. That's what it comes down to. And our math protects us from it. So I don't have to worry about it. My math protects us. And you can see what I've developed for J4X. And then you can see Chicago Quant over on the right. We're always ahead of the curve. I'm happy enough with that. That's fine. So if the rest of the population wants to live in that irony, well, then they will live in that irony. Keep on voting for the same clowns year in. It was Al Einstein used to say something about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Something of that nature. That's why he had 6 solid girlfriends. Guy knew how to date. He dated 6 girls at once, always solidly. He was very good at that. All right. Now, from there, usually at that time when I go into Al Einstein, I put that picture up with his former wife's and his former fiance's sister. And they're not the same people. So his former wife and his former fiance are 2 different women. And the picture I always put up is, let's see if I can find that picture. I always enjoy putting that picture up when I get pulled into Al Einstein territory. Where is it at? It's a goodie. There it is. Oh, yeah. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. That is the daughter of his wife when he's like, his wife died like in 36 or something like that, 1935. And so for 19 years, Al was on vacation here in the United States and didn't do a hell of a lot but screw. But in the end result is that's what that is. And that is his former fiance, which is her older sister. And her mother, he married. He didn't marry her older sister, though. Anyhow, that's history. That's a history lesson. There we go. All right, back to the markets. So, from the cable, let's go to the yen. There's the yen. And as you can see, the yen is doing that thing, losing against the dollar. Went into the buy on Friday. And, we've been in that weekly buy since back in here. So, that's probably that 0.25% interest rate they have to adjust. They don't have a choice. It's part of the manifesto of the hedge funds, the retirement funds, and union funds, so forth and so on. They have to invest that way. If not, they'll get sued. My one son works for a law firm. He was part of the portfolio team, and that's what they do. They do class action lawsuits. When stupid people in corporations do stupid things, they just sue them. And then they get a few dollars from it. All right. From there, let's see. Oh, we didn't put the yen up on J4X. Let's see what it looks like on J4X. And you can see right dollar yen right there. There's dollar yen. You can see yellow line is at 38. We see the green line at 47. It's doing that lift. It's trying to get into the buy today. It's usually just 3 or 4 hours old from our mathematics. So our daily went into the buy on Friday. It's joining in today. You can see J4X is joining in today. And you can see our green line got through. Where's the mouse at? That green line got through the zero line here on the daily. And it's been in the weekly buy for a long while anyway. So I told you, don't play shorts. Don't play the shorts unless you're doing it through a binary or an option. All right. And then from there, we slide over to, what do we do? Oh, I know it is. We go to the King Peso. The Mexican peso is the big brick in the neighborhood. Let's put it up there, dollar peso. And there is the dollar peso. Let's put it up on Chicago Quant. And so the peso's been in a sell from there. If there was an index, I think Doc created an index. I jumped ahead of everybody. I created an index, verbally here. We watch it together. We don't watch it totally, but we watch it here. Let's see. What's the method says inflation? Is it a when on the dollar yen? Oh, well, let's go back to it and take a look. It went into yesterday was the when. Friday was the when. Let's grab that. Where is that? Oh, let's put it in there. Oh, we'll put the when in there. That's right. I don't have the line in there either. Let's put the line in there. I was running and gunning. I got some tractoring I want to do today too. Got to get this stuff done. Little plants are begging to get out of the greenhouse. I got something like 500 more plants in the greenhouse. I got to get them in the ground. I only have 300 and some odd in there. I got to get these guys in the ground. They're like looking at me and they give me all kinds of funny faces. The when was Friday, especially with it being in the weekly buy, well through the manifold here, as you can see on the weekly side of it all. Let's put the when right there. When. Shift W-E-N. When. There you go. It's at the high end of the range. There's no doubt that if you had saw that on Friday, you would be catching the profit on it now. I don't know how long this scare is going to go on. I want to go with the rest of yous, and that is, when they raise, then we'll believe in a sense. But I think the markets are just adjusting for that. So as much as this could be like, there's the last buy right there, and that was really great, And then the previous buy to that was this one, and that was okay. Made money also. This one was relatively mild. It was only 3 days. It made new highs each day, but it wasn't big. So this could become like this one right here. That's what I'm concerned about. This might be right here, solely because you can see our weekly algorithm is way up. And not to say that it couldn't get going, but I like the sure bets. That's my repertoire. So in other words, if you're going to get long this, do not do it through hard delta. In other words, don't do it through spot. You got to do it through a binary. And you want to probably do it for 45 days of a binary, something like that. That would be the way to play it. But I would not buy the hard delta here. Just solely because the real play was Friday. It went into the buy Friday. It popped. But look how muted it is. Look how tight it is. It's just like here. Before you know it, they're going to be breaking down again. And, with interest rates trying to, with the potential of interest rates trying to go again now because of Friday's numbers, it may be short-lived. I'm not convinced. I'm with you guys out there. We'll believe it when we see it. Another quarter point. But money itself believes it because that's why they pushed the bonds into a sell. That's why they've rallied towards stocks because they're anticipating that we're at the long end of the road of interest rate expansion. And so, if they don't raise, matter of fact, it probably is The first interpretation was that they're not going to raise. So they lift the stocks up thinking, okay, we start dollar cost averaging here. If they back off, then we use this as the average line. And so, then we dollar cost average later on and keep on dollar cost averaging. So I would say that, as they would say in the hedge fund industry, it's next week's business. Not today, next week. And so that's pretty much it, with the little doily on their lap, sipping tea. In my day, they'd been coking out. Anyhow, that's what it is. All right, now from the where were we at? We were looking at the Mexican peso, the major brick. It's very strong against the dollar. Remember, when this is going down, it's gaining against the dollar. So this is the only brick that really shows any life in it. The poor South African rand. I was telling you guys, I ran across these two farmers cut herring a field next to me, and they were from South Africa, and they were like, they knew where the rand was, like as well as I knew where the rand was. I was like, oh my God, these guys are really focused in on it. They saw that thing crack into 20, and they were like, I can't believe it. We're paying almost 20 rands to $1 now. It should be because of all that political turmoil they're having down there right now. It should be in the 13s and a half, 14s and a half, something like that. That's the second strongest brick out there. And then the third, obviously, is the Indian rupee. And then after that, there's not much left, really. I mean, I can't imagine the Brazil real or if that's 1% of the index, I'll be surprised. If the Chinese yuan is more than 4% of the index, I'll be surprised. And then the currency that shall not be named, like Voldemort and Harry Potter, the ruble. That could be 8% someday if they clean up their act. That could be 8% of the brick. I could see that. But the Mexican peso is definitely the powerhouse in that sector. All right, from there, and let me know, traders, if you ever do hear anybody that realizes out of the bricks, the Mexican peso is the powerhouse. Because all they want to tell you is it's the ones that are probably going to make, if at most, they'll make probably 8 or 9% of the index. That's about it. Those last three I mentioned, the rand, the Chinese yuan, and the ruble, they'll be lucky if they get into double digits, all three of them together as a part of the index. Let's see. From there, we go to another laboratory of trading, and that is the Turkish lira against the euro. You can see the volatility has just gone totally agog, and you can see the pressure on it is dramatic. And we are trying to get into the buy. You can see that there. It's been in that weekly buy for a while, since the 20 area. And we're playing with the 22s now, right up against the wall. And I don't think there's anything they can do to help that currency at this point. I don't see anything they can do, because they just had elections, and it's the policies are not going to change. And I don't think they had that much of a choice to begin with when it came to. It was kind of like voting for smart Biden versus stupid Biden, if there is such an animal of each. That was pretty much it. Both candidates were not really helpful for the economy, and the one that's in control now won anyway on a second runoff. So this currency is going to have its issues a lot longer than people would want it to. So, all right, now from the Turkish lira, we slide over to the Canadian dollar, and we'll look at the South African rand again. With the metals market, and you can see here it's trapped inside that big triangle we've identified for a couple of weeks or months or whatever it is at this point. And then you can see a daily sell, and it's doing its thing. It's going down like our work says it should, and that's interesting. The weekly is trying to turn up. Notice it's the slow algorithm that's doing it. The fast is still trapped underneath the manifold here, so I don't know what that's all about, but we'll see how that smooths out. This is only Monday, and we got 5 days this week, so we'll see how they play that out. And from there, what we do is we look at oil, and the only reason, see, it's gaining against it. Remember, when it goes down, it's gaining against the dollar, and so it's been they were started to notice they front runned the OPEC meeting. the Saudis tried to create more cuts to increase prices, and it didn't seem to work. So the Saudis came out and said, you know what, we'll just cut our export even more, 1 million barrels. And so what they did is, let's go take a look at the oil market over here on J4X, the Earl market. Right there, there's Texas Light Sweet Crude. You can see it's spiked up a little bit, nothing major, but it has moved up. So they front runned it on Friday. I think our work had it in a daily buy on Friday, and we were in a weekly buy too. I think I know the back month was a weekly buy for 2 weeks. Yeah, September was in a weekly buy for 2 weeks. This is the third week. It picked up this move coming, went into the buy. Did it make it into the buy on what is that? First Thursday? No, yes, maybe. Yeah, it went into the buy on Thursday, so that line's probably supposed to be there. See, it made it through the zero line there, so it's caught the wave of it. The math is seeing that. There was no problem there. And then where are we at? Oh yeah, so when we go and look at the not the crude, but we want to look at the Canadian. There it is. The Canadian is reflecting that they knew the front runners started to come in. Especially, you can see there. That's Thursday. That's what is that? That's the Thursday. So they automatically knew. They started front running this thing on Thursday. The insiders did. The Canadian, the Saudis and so forth, and the oil people already knew it was coming, and they used one of the vehicles to make money off of it was the Canadian dollar, and that's what we're seeing there. But notice it's still trapped in that triangle. And it rode the top of it, but it's still trapped in it. And so the math is trying to tell us that they're not totally excited about the Canadian, and they're not totally excited about the idea that oil will keep on rising. I think oil is trapped in this range, and it's going to stay that way. Just let's go take a look at oil on Chicago Quant. There it is right there. And you can see, it's herky jerky. It went into the sell here in the high mid 70s, climbed into the weekly buy, and here they started front running it right off, and then they dollar cost average into it. You got to figure. Imagine if you dollar cost average from here to there. That's buku money. Again, that's Vietnamese for a lot. Big. And so that's what's going on there. Now, notice that they gapped it up, and the buyers did not buy. They did not take it too serious. The pressure is on that product. So, it's summer months. They usually use a lot of crude and stuff like that for automobiles. We'll see how they play that out too. But as far as I can tell, it's going to be. Look at it. You can see it already. It's in some type of big channel for like the last 8 or 9 months. See it right there? Look at that. I mean, you're going back to December of last year, right? I mean, look at that. It's just trapped in some type of channel, and we tighten it up even more. You see, it was a descending channel, and then it jumped up again, and now it's a rising channel here, and it's doing that big triangle thing. If you look at R.N. Elliott and W.D. Gann and the Fibonacci universe and so forth, it's trying to do that. I try not to I don't think we're going to see like $150 or $200 oil, and I don't think we're going to see $30 oil or $40 until we change politics over here. So it's just a matter of time. So you got a good year plus of this craziness still. And Mr. and Mrs. Inflation and all the little inflations. All right, and then from there, where do we go? Rand. So let's go to gold. And there's gold. You can see gold is breaking down, and we did see where the Rand is going up. But actually, I think it was flattening, was it? No, it's been going down. It's been gaining. It's been gaining against the dollar and losing gold at the same time, which is really all over the place. That's odd because usually this is a lockstep. Ever since that political problem they had down there, right here where politics, $500,000 in cash found in sofa of the president's office, and he refused to resign. And ever since then, the currency has broken away from the metals market totally. So it should have been this distance down from the 17. So it should be, like 15 and a half, if not better. I say it should be about 14 and 25. 1375 area, something like that. And it's not. It's trading almost at 20. So it's the politics holding this poor product up. And it's just the way it rolls. That's all part of the game, traders. Understand the politics, you'll understand the markets. All right. So that does it for the currencies. How about Benny? Would you like to see another picture of Cable Aussie? Cracky, man. There it is. Still pressuring down. And you can see the weekly's trying to turn up. So boy, you got a real watch out for that when. That's a whack. It would be nice if it was still doing that, being in a weekly sell, but it's already busted through the zero line here on the weekly. So I don't know. I think, like I said, I don't think I'd play it unless you have to hedge something. Then it's a different story. But if you don't have to hedge it and you're just trading it, do it through binaries. Binaries. What do you mean, why not? Why not? Yeah, why not? Oh, llama low. Why not? Llama low. That is why not in the Bible. Llama low. All right. Let's see, what else can we say? I guess that's about it. Oh, that's the why not. See, I'm so simplistic in head. That's the why not. Why not look at GBPAU? There you are. I'm sitting there like a bump on a log. All right, now, I got to get out of here. It's 2 minutes before market opens. I got things to do, places to be. I need some trades and so forth to do. All right, guys and gals, this is Doc from North America having too much fun. We will catch you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Oh, gold. Here, I'll send you out with a gold. Gold. It's right there. There's the gold. See the gold? It's in the daily sell. It's been in that weekly sell since the 2050 area, I guess you could say. And it was in that long fall. Then it went into the buy for the dead cat bounce. It's doing the same thing as the currencies. It's an inflation interest rate thing. That's all it is. All right, traders, we're out of here. Oh, Benny says, I have a nice day, everyone. And Mountain, I'll text you later. Okay, cool, guys. Ta-ta for now. Buongiorno.